Hello everyone and welcome back. This is an addendum to video 3 on writing the essays. I said I was going to talk about creating an outline, and I realized as I was going about it that I wanted to actually make a separate video because it's kind of time consuming to talk about creating outlines. And I think that this would be very helpful to anyone who wants to create an outline for any essay that they're going to write. So I wanted to do this, and I wanted to make sure that you can use it as a resource and share it with other people. Okay, so here we go. All right, I'm using Google Docs here, and as you can see, this is the script for my video. All right, and I'm just calling it how to create an outline for essays. All right, so whenever you have to write an essay, it's really helpful to make an outline. That's what I do, and it's amazing because it helps me to organize my thoughts and it helps me to stay focused on what I'm trying to say and what it is that they're actually asking of me, right? And when we're talking about the Gilman essays, right, they have certain things that they're asking you, okay? So if I go back to this, like the statement of purpose essay, they give me a prompt right here, like make the case for why a global academic or professional experience would contribute to your future academic and or career goals. And I would just take that and put that into my template, right? So I would just put it right here. Create an outline. That would be point A. And then I would go like this, hit tab, and then I would start writing what that is, right? So the reason why I like to use the outline format is because it's very organized. And then I would just put what it is that how it is that I'm going to answer this question. I would write that here. How is this applying to my career goals? And just write it out. Write it simply. Do 1, 2, 3. It'll help me with my it'll help me to be more communicative. It'll help me to break out of my shell. It'll help me to learn more about my home country if it's somewhere that's like your heritage. There's a lot of things that you're going to get out of it that I think, or there's a lot of things you can talk about. So just make a list. 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 enter, blah, 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 enter, blah, 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 enter. Do it like that. That way you have it lined up as like 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. It's very organized. If you think about, when you have some sort of an assignment, they give you a rubric, right? But when you have a rubric, you're going to use that rubric and make sure that when you write your essay, you got every point in that rubric where they talk about formatting, they talk about your content, they talk about all these things. So I like to use my outline as my in tandem with the rubric, because that helps me. And if any assignment I get, there's no rubric, well, what is my rubric then? I go to this. This is my rubric. They want to know this information. They want this amount of words, right? So you do that in your template, and then that will help you to accomplish what it is that you're trying to accomplish here. Now, I use this outline format where you have this here. You can go ahead and click on this numbered list box, and then you can change it to like Roman numerals. You can just change it to numbers like that and letters. I personally prefer, oops, I messed something up there. I personally prefer starting with Roman numerals because it's the most organized format, in my opinion. And then you can also hang on, sorry about that. Then you can also have more spaces, and you can even create it and turn it into a table of contents when you have it like that. So if you see here, this is showing the heading right here. You see how that style's popped up? It's a heading style. You can then change this one to be like heading 2, right? And then if you look on the side here, now all of a sudden you have these things that are clickable, and you can click around in here. It's very similar in Microsoft Word. So try to make use of that, because having these different styles are really helpful. So I'm going to change it back to normal text, right? Because what's cool too is that you can also change the size of the text using your styles. So it's a lot simpler. This is not really important for the actual essay. This is just important for doing outlines. So I thought I would mention it. All right. So when you're doing your essays, use that format. Okay. And then I'm just going through here. I want you to just think about your questions that you're answering. What I did also, let me go back here, is I would just take this question. Okay, I'm just copying that, right? Take the question and then just like post it right here. Okay, boom. Let me go back. This is Shift Tab, and you can change back to the previous letter order in the Roman numerals style. So I make this here, I put this question here, and then I answer it. Okay, if there's another question, you can click in front and then hit enter, and it'll drop it down, and then you can enter a different question in that spot there. Okay, and then try to answer that. If you go back to the previous video, I gave you guys questions that I want you to think about. So I encourage you to take those questions, write it out, put it in here so that you can see it. Like, for example, let me go back here. We're talking about essay number 1, right? And it says, why did you select a specific program? So I gave you these questions. Copy. I'm going to paste it for you guys so you can see it. Paste. Boom. Is there a cultural significance for you going to said country? Are you trying to learn language or learn more about your heritage? And then there's more questions I gave you guys. Look, I'm going to post them here too. Merry Christmas. Boom. Okay? Use those. Write those questions out, because this is going to help you to see, what it is that you're right. What are you trying to answer? Okay, I'm giving you freebies, but I want you guys to go through and do the video. Go back to the video that I made, and I want you to put those questions in your outline and really go through that work, that soul searching to answer those questions, because that's going to help you to be authentic. Okay, I don't want you to just take these questions and post them in ChatGPT. I want you to go through the questions and answer them honestly for yourself. Think about that, because this is all a part of studying abroad, is growing and thinking about who you are and who you're going to be. So I want you to do that and be careful, be authentic with what you're doing. All right. And then I want you also to, once you write everything out and you, like, when you answer each question, so you would, like, let's say you hit enter, and then you're going to type your answer. What is my answer to this question? Okay. Then you're going to take all of those answers, and you're going to then, on a separate page, you start going and you then rewrite them into a paragraph. Rewrite those questions into a paragraph, because that's going to help you to then, like, organize those thoughts into one thought, into one paragraph. Because 500 words is not much. I think it's like one page, not even one page single spaced. So it's not a lot of words. So you want to be careful, checking your word count as well when you're going through each of these. Because once you write it out, then you'll say, oh man, this is like only 200 words. I need to go deeper here. Or this is 1,000 words. I need to cut back. So I want you to think about that. Okay? And then the last thing I want you to think about, after you write that out, then I want you to read it out loud. And reading it out loud is an amazing tool for writing. Because when you're writing, I want you to think, is this how I speak? When I read what I'm writing, is this how I would say it? And the reason for that is because when they're reading it, they're trying to imagine your voice. They're trying to read it in your voice. So I want you to write with your voice. Does that make sense? Write with your voice. Write in the way that you think. Now, you'll need to go and correct your grammar. You may need to fix your sentence structure so you're not using run-on sentences, things like that. because when we speak, we're a little bit more off of the top of our head, like the way I'm talking right now. So you're not scripted in when you're just having a conversation or you're just talking, but this is an essay, so you are scripted and you want to have your thoughts organized, but you want to read it out loud and say to yourself, does this sentence make sense? Is this a run-on sentence? Is this grammar correct? And the best way to do that is just reading it out loud. You'll catch so many typos just by reading out loud. You'll be like, oh, I missed this word. I spelled this wrong. I did that. You know, so it's an incredible tool to read what you write out loud. Do it every single time, not just for this, but anytime you write a paper, whether it's a scientific paper, whether it's another essay, you're writing a discussion question, read what you're saying out loud. Even before you send a text message to somebody, read it out loud. Does that sound okay? It's a wonderful tip for writing. So I want you to internalize that, please. And then, the last thing I want you to think about when you write is print it out. Once you write your essay, print it out and read it. And even maybe double space it, but when you print it, that way you can write on it and add things and give yourself room to put like a caret so that you can add a word or sentence or what have you. Do that because that's going to help you to further proofread yourself and be able to catch more things, because it's funny how you can write a whole essay and you can stare at it and you can reread it a bunch of times on the screen, but as soon as you print it, you catch way more errors that way. So I highly encourage you that you go through that process and reread everything. So I hope these tips help you, because it's really important that you do that. Like I said, you want to do what you want to be as thorough as you can with this series of essays, because you get one shot at it, and it's very valuable. So I thank you guys for your time, and we're going to go next into the last essay, in which we're talking about planning for your study abroad trip. So we'll see you there. Thank you. Bye-bye.